First up, I want to congratulate you on your win last night for Entertainer of the Year. You look fantastic. Your speech brought tears when I saw it online. So, what I want to know is from your early start to this film and more, what does the definition of entertainer mean to you now as opposed to when you first started out?
Mm, that's a good question. I think entertainer for me um stands for the resilience. Like the work that it takes, the prayer that it takes, the trust in God that it takes is what I feel. It's like would I had been the entertainer of the year if everything went my way versus the way God had it written out for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it. A person that has entertained everything emotionally, spiritually, mentally, not just in how we entertain people, but how, you know, you just navigate something. That's an entertainer to me, you know?
I love that answer. So, along those lines with Perfidia, she is a revolutionary, she's a mother, she's so multidimensional. What aspect of her character stretched you the most, mental, spiritual, or the physical?
Mm. A little bit of everything. Because, my girl was up in there running, shooting guns, all types of stuff. I was whooped. But I think what stretched me the most was her layers, and color coordinating those layers because she's so complex. She's a lot of colors, and color coordinating those layers was definitely a big stretch, and it was well worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it felt good to play this character that was, you know, unapologetically herself, even if it read selfishly. You know what I'm saying? To see a black woman, put herself first. Um, you know, that was the part that was amazing to see. Not saying that, how the decisions that she made was right, but also if you take stuff in hindsight and you just say, okay, let me mute that part. This black woman is standing up for herself. She can't, nobody can shut her up. No one can sit her down. No one can shrink her. She's standing 10 toes down on who she is. I think that's why we also have a soft spot for her. And it felt good to play a person so flawed that she was okay with you seeing her without her cape. She was okay with that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to be strong all the time. We going to make mistakes. And I think sometimes the mistakes are so dramatic to others. They take it, oh my God, they're clutching their pearls because we're forced to be strong all the time. So when you have that moment of weakness and that moment your cape rip, you see people's how they really feel. And I think that she was unapologetic about that. And she was also all she had. I think she felt very alone. She felt like she was in survival mode and she was forced to move the way that she moved. Even though, she's grown and she can make her own decisions. But when you see the movie more than once, you really start to see how much help she needed. And maybe just like the cries out for help, like it's just so many times somebody could have stepped in and showed up for her.
So, kind of along those lines, I saw an interview where you had some comparisons of her to Assata, who recently passed away, as well as, there's been a lot of conversation about how we placed her, just looking back as a revolutionary, as a mother, all of the things you mentioned. So, in looking at that, Assata, what characteristics do you think they mirror? And in taking, it's been a couple of months since the release, and obviously since you stepped into the character, how do you look at her now with a little bit of distance? And how do you feel as though you folded in pieces of a or
I think
compared the two?
I think the part that I feel like the mirror is her being unapologetically herself and standing up for what she believe in. Again, I don't look at Perfidia and say this is Asada's life. Asada left her baby. She was selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like, Perfidia still has her own characteristics, and it was loosely based on Asada. So I don't want to put that in the category of this is what Asada was and what she represented. I think these are two women that were unapologetically themselves, and You know, they stood for something. Unfortunately, you know, Perfidia got a little greedy and it backfired on her, you know, and she spiraled and made a few bad decisions. But one thing that we've seen in both is through all, um, they were badasses. You know what I'm saying? And they stood 10 toes down in what they stood for. And you can do nothing but respect that by any means necessary.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on
Thank
everything
you
and
so much,
positive
Jill.
vibes for award season, girl. We're gonna bring something else home.
Thank you. Thank you.